Hello grade 12, this is task 15.36 on VAT ledger accounts. This is one of the questions I wanted to do with you in class, but unfortunately we were unable to meet. Okay, so in task 15.36, there are some missing figures we need to calculate and then VAT ledger accounts. If there are any other questions you would like me to go through with you from module 15, please let me know and I will do so. Remember, module 15 is revision on all the sections in the textbook. Okay, so in 15.36.1, briefly explain what is meant by VAT input and VAT output. Okay, so these definitions are actually in the glossary at the back of your textbook. They will also be in the VAT module in your textbook. You must learn these definitions as they're very important for exams. So VAT input is the VAT amount charged by suppliers or service providers on goods or services purchased from them. I also like to think of it where goods come in, so that means it's the VAT on purchases. Okay, you must remember that it's an asset and it can be claimed back from SARS. And VAT output is the VAT amount charged to customers on goods or services provided to them. And again, the word out tells us that goods have left the business, and this is the VAT that we charge on sales. Okay, this is a liability and it's payable to SARS. Okay, so please make sure that you know these definitions very well, as they're very common in exams and VAT questions. Okay, then in 15.36.2, what is the present VAT rate in South Africa and how can this VAT rate change? So currently the VAT rate is 15%. It used to be 14%. So it can be changed by the Minister of Finance and a special resolution in Parliament, which means that he can't just change it by himself, but basically it needs to be authorized. Okay, then in 15.36.3, are all goods in South Africa charged at the same rate? Explain. Okay, so no, all goods are not charged at the same rate because some items are zero rated. Now, it's always important for you to know some examples of zero rated items, so please make sure that you learn a few of the items which are zero rated. There are more items listed in your textbook, and you can also Google some more if you prefer. Okay, so the next part of the question, there are missing figures in all the journals which we need to calculate. I put some notes already on the side and we'll discuss it as we're going through. Okay, so in A, we're dealing with the creditor's journal, okay, and the VAT amount is missing on the creditor's journal. Please remember we'll be using 14% for our calculations. Okay, so in order to calculate the VAT amount, what I want you to look at is the actual amount the creditors control. Now, if you remember the creditors journal from the past, like when you did it last in grade 10, the creditors control amount is the total amount that you're owing to your creditors for all the goods you've bought on credit for the month. So 353,400 includes VAT, because when we are owing people money, we're owing them the amount plus the VAT. So 353,400, you must remember, includes VAT. Okay, so in order to calculate the VAT, we're going to take 353,400, okay, we're going to multiply it by 15 and divide it by 115. So for this, you could use the table that I always tell you about where we cross multiply. So if you remember the table, we say excluding is equal to 100, VAT is 15, and then obviously including would be 115. Okay, so in this case here, we are trying to calculate VAT, which is 15. We have been given the inclusive VAT amount. So what we do is we'll say 353,400 is equal to 115. And we need to find the VAT, which is equal to 15. Then you would just cross multiply and find it. So we'll say 353,400 times 15 over 115. Right? So I'll be coming back to this calculation now and then to just change it for what we need. But you will see them also. You don't have to always do this. Eventually you'll start knowing what to multiply by without having to do the cross multiplication. So when we've been given an amount which includes VAT and we want to extract the VAT, we say times 15 over 115. Okay, and then that will give us the answer of 46096. Okay, in B, we are now in the creditors allowances journal. We need to calculate the VAT. Okay, I've made some notes for you on the side that the VAT from the CJ is VAT input because it's VAT on purchases. And now the CAJ is the opposite of the CJ because goods are being returned. So it's also input but negative input, okay, which we'll come to later. Okay, for now we need to calculate the amount. Okay, so this time we can't use the creditors control figure because it hasn't been given to us. If it was given to us, we could have just worked it out the way we did here. Okay, this time we just need the VAT figure. Now if you look at our other figures, we've got trading stock, equipment, and stationery. Those are all items that we've returned to the creditors during the month. All of those items exclude VAT because when they go to the income statement or the balance sheet, they need to exclude VAT as VAT does not belong to the business. So we're going to take those three amounts, 14,000, 5,000, and 600, add them up, and just work out the VAT on them at 15% because those amounts exclude VAT. And when we have a figure which excludes VAT, to get the VAT, we just multiply it by 15%. Okay, so we can calculate that and we get 2940. Okay, we're still in the creditors allowances journal. Okay, we're now calculating C, and C is the actual amount of creditors control. Now, there are two ways you can obviously do this. We could take our answer from here, which is 14,000 plus 5,000 plus 600 plus the VAT of 2940. Alternatively, we could use the 2940 to now calculate that. And I'm just going to show you how to do this here. Okay, so 2940 is equal to the VAT itself. So it's equal to 15. This time, we are looking for the amount which includes VAT. Because I told you, creditors control must always include VAT. So we're looking for 115. So you'll say 2940 times 115 divided by 15 to get your answer. Okay, 2940 times 115 over 15. And that gives us an answer of 22,540. Even if you add it up, 14,000 plus 5,000 plus 600 plus 2940, you would have got the same answer. So you could do that as well, right? Then D. Okay, we're now moving on to the debtors journal. Okay, now the debtors journal. Okay, please remember that the debtors control amount must include VAT because the debtors are owing us the full amount, which includes VAT. But the sales and cost of sales will exclude VAT. Okay, so D is the sales amount. Now we've been given the cost of sales amount. To calculate the sales amount, we use our normal markup. Selling price is equal to cost price multiplied by 100 plus markup over 100. And if you look at number 1 of your information, the markup is 60%. So we're just going to take the cost of sales 240,000 multiplied by 160 over 100, and that will give us the sales answer, 384,000. Okay, then for E, we need to calculate the VAT. Now, the DJ is for sales. So the VAT that we calculate is VAT output. Okay, now we've got the sales amount, which we just calculated, 384,000. This 384,000 excludes VAT. So to calculate the VAT, we're just going to multiply it by 15%. And we've got the answer, 57,600. Okay, moving on to the next journal, which is the debtors, F we still need to calculate. F is the amount of debtors control. And the debtors control amount must be the amount, the sales amount plus the VAT amount. So 384,000 plus 57,600, which is 441,600. I have made a note for here that the debtors control amount must include VAT. Okay, then we're moving on to the debtors allowances journal for G. In G, we have to calculate the sales. Okay, this time we haven't been given the cost of sales, so we can't use the normal calculation. What we have been given is the actual VAT amount. Okay, now to do this here, okay, we've been given the VAT amount, 560, which is equal to 15. Sales needs to exclude VAT, so that's equal to 100. Cross multiplies, we'll say 560 multiplied by 100 divided by 15. Okay, to get our sales answer. So 560 times 100 divided by 15, that gives us 3733. Okay, I've just been rounding off the answers. Okay, then still in the DAJ, we need to calculate H. H is the debtors control. Now please remember that the debtors control must include VAT. So it will be we could calculate it like using the cross multiplication, or we could calculate it a different way. Okay, so we need to calculate the debtors control. Okay, debtors control must include VAT. Okay, so we need the inclusive VAT amount, which is 115. We've been given the VAT amount, which is 560. We'll say 560 times 115 divided by 15. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. 560 times 115 over 15, which gives us 4293. Alternatively, you could have done it this way, where you could have said 3733, which we calculated in G, plus the VAT amount of 560 would have also given you the same answer. Okay, so there's different ways of getting the same answer, 4293. Okay, then still in the DAJ, we're now calculating the cost of sales. Now we know what the sales amount is, so we can use the formula to calculate cost of sales. We can say cost price is equal to selling price multiplied by 100 divided by 100 plus markup. So we're going to take our answer from G, which is the sales amount 3733, multiplied by 100 and divide by 160. Please remember that sales and cost of sales must always exclude VAT. Okay, then J, we're going on to the PCJ. Okay, so the PCJ, the total is 5472. The stationery amount is missing. Okay, so all we have to do is take the 5472 total minus other figures. So minus the 672 VAT and minus the 4000 for delivery expenses, and that will give us stationery. The reason we subtract VAT is because the stationery amount must exclude VAT. Okay, then going on to K, we are now in the CRJ. Okay, so in the CRJ, the figure which is missing is the bank figure. Okay, now the bank figure, we're going to take the sales plus the fee income plus the VAT. Okay, we're going to ignore cost of sales. Then we'll take the debtors control receipts and we'll ignore discount allowed. Okay, because bank is only the actual amount of money received. Okay, so it's not the discount because that's not money received. It's not the cost of sales. Okay, because obviously that's not what was received for sale. Okay, please remember that the bank amount always includes VAT because you have to receive the VAT in order to pay it over to SARS. Okay, then L in the CPJ is the VAT amount of the CPJ. Before we do that, look at the last underneath the CPJ, we have an asterisk which says sundry accounts consist of drawings. Okay, so 10,000 Rand drawings, that's basically cash drawings by the owner. Okay, there is drawings on trading stock drawn by an owner, but not, there is VAT on trading stock drawn by the owner, but not on cash drawn by the owner. So we're going to exclude that from our calculation. Okay, so the first, so L, we need to calculate the VAT amount. Okay, so we're going to take the other figures which exclude VAT and just multiply them by 15%. Now the figure we need to use is the trading stock of 60,000. We will not use the salaries because PAYE is paid on salaries and salaries are exempt from VAT. Okay, then we'll take the consumable stores of 4,000 Rand. We will ignore the creditors control and discount in our calculations here because they are dealt with elsewhere. Okay, so we're going to ignore the creditors control and the discount. The reason is creditors control is input and we deal with it in the CJ, so not in the CPJ when the payment is made to the creditor. We only take 60,000 plus 4,000 and multiply that by 15%. Okay, remember this is the VAT on purchases, so it is VAT input. Okay, and then the last one, M, is the bank figure. Bank must be the total amount of money which is being paid out. So we're going to take trading stock plus salaries plus consumable stores plus the VAT which is calculated plus the creditors control payments. Okay, we're going to ignore the discount and we'll add on the sundry accounts. So all of those figures added up will give us our answer of 265,600 and thus must include VAT. You see we included the VAT amount of 9,600 in our calculation. Okay, so then we need to do the ledger accounts. Now in 15.36.5, they asked us to calculate to the VAT input, the VAT output, and the VAT control. It also says that the entries can be combined into the VAT control only, which is also something I'm going to be showing you now. Okay, so firstly, look at number 2, we've got some balances. For VAT input, 21,200. Now please remember, VAT input is an asset, so the balance will be brought down on the debit side. So we're going to have here, balance brought down. Most of the time in these questions, you don't have to worry about the dates, etc., but I'll just put it in. Okay, so this is on August the 1st, and everything else will be on August the 31st. Okay, now if you're only doing the VAT control account, not doing separate accounts, so I'm going to show it to you right at the bottom. If you're only doing VAT control account, we would just put this on the debit side, 21,200. We would say that this is VAT. I would say that this is VAT input. The details are not something you really have to worry about because it's just a calculation. Okay. Okay. Then we need to do the VAT output. Okay, so the VAT output is a liability, 22,400. So the balance will be brought down on the credit side. So on August the 1st, we have balance brought down, and the amount is 22,400. Okay, if we were only doing the VAT control account, we would just put it on the credit side, 22,400. Okay. So basically what I want you guys to remember, that if you're only doing the VAT control account, on the debit side we will put all the input, and on the credit side we will put all the output. So instead of doing separate ledger account, 3 ledger accounts, in this case we would only do this 1 ledger account. Anyway, I'm going to show you both. Okay, now we're going to go through our journals. Remember, we are only doing VAT ledger accounts, so we are only interested in the VAT amounts from the journal. So our first journal, the creditors journal, the VAT amount, so that was A's answer. Okay, I'm just going to see what A's answer was. It was 46096. I did tell you it's VAT input because this is the VAT on purchases from the creditors. 46096 is going to go to the is VAT input, so we're going to put it here on the debit side, 46096. Okay, your details will be creditors control because this is from the CJ. Okay, if you are only doing the VAT control account, it would go to the debit side of that with the same details. So we'll have here creditors control from the CJ. Okay, 46096. Okay, next journal, we have the creditors allowances journal. And so that is B's answer. We calculated 2940. Okay, now I also told you in B that that is negative input. So that means it's the opposite of normal input. So instead of putting it on the debit side, we're going to put it on the debit side. So we're going to put 2940 here. And your details will be creditors control. Okay, now if you are doing a VAT, only the VAT control account, it would go to the credit side here. The details will be creditors control. Okay, this is from the CAJ, and the amount was 2940. So you can see that we're doing the exact same thing, either putting it in the VAT input account or on the same side of the VAT control account. Okay, that was the next journal we have is the debtors journal. Okay, so the VAT amount there was E's answer. So let me just see what E's answer is. It's 57,600. This is VAT output. It will go to the credit side of VAT output, 57,600 from the DJ. And our details will be debtors control. Okay, on the 31st of August. If you're only doing the VAT control account, we would have the same thing on the credit side of the VAT control account. Okay, so there we go. Okay, the next journal we then have is the DAJ. Okay, and we need again the VAT column there. The total was given to you, it was 560. Okay, and now remember that when goods are returned by a debtor, it is VAT output, but it's negative VAT output. So instead of being on the credit side like it normally is, it's going to be on the debit side. So on August the 31st, in the VAT output account, we have debtors control, but now on the other side, because this is the DAJ, this is goods which have been returned by a debtor, the amount is 560. And it's on the debit side of the VAT output. So if we were only doing the VAT control account, it would also go to the debit side here, 560. Okay. Then the next journal we have is the petty cash journal. Now remember, the petty cash journal is also for purchases, and the VAT that we pay on purchases is regarded as VAT input. So we're going to go to our VAT input account. On the debit side, more details will be petty cash, because this is coming from the PCJ, and the amount of VAT there, which was given to us, 672. Okay, and again, if you were only doing the VAT control account, it would go to the VAT control account on the same side, which means the debit side. Okay, then the CRJ, the VAT column in the CRJ, 12,460, which was given to you. Okay, the CRJ is for sales, and the VAT on sales is referred to as VAT output. So we're going to go to the credit side of VAT output. Our details will be bank, because this is for cash sales from the CRJ. Okay, and the amount is 12,460. If you were only doing the VAT control account, it would go to the credit side of the VAT control account. Okay, the last journal is the CPJ, and the VAT we calculated there, which was Al's answer. Just go and see what it was. 9,600 if it's VAT input. Okay, so we're going to go to the VAT input on the debit side, because VAT input is an asset. More details will be bank, because this is for cash purchases from the CPJ, 9,600. And if we were doing the only the VAT control account, okay, we'll go to VAT control on the debit side and put the answer in there. Okay, so that is what it is. Okay, then we've got a note at the bottom. The CPJ excludes a check that was made out to SARS on 31st August to settle the amount of VAT due at the end of August. This would be entered as VAT control in the sundry accounts column. We're going to come back to that later. And then look at number 10, entries in the general journal. Is the VAT on the discount allowed amounted to N. Okay, so if we didn't calculate that in, I didn't see that, but then we can calculate it now. Okay, so if you look at your discount allowed is in the CRJ. So if you look at the discount allowed column, it's 2,800 in the CRJ. Okay, and the 2,800 includes VAT. So we're just going to extract the VAT from there. So we're going to calculate 2,800. Just going to show you the calculation here with our other calculations so that it's all in one place. Okay, so this is in 2,800. We're going to say multiply by 15 over 115, because I said it includes that. Okay, I'm just going to round it off, so that will give us 365 there. Okay, this is from the CRJ. Okay, it includes VAT. Okay, now discount allowed. This is discount which is given to our debtors. And when we sell goods to our debtors, we regard this the VAT on the sales as VAT output. Now this is negative output. So instead of going to the credit side of the output account, it's actually going to go to the debit side of the output account. Now details will be debtors control, but if you want in brackets, you can say discount allowed so that you know where you're getting it from. Remember, discount allowed, discount received, etc. These are not standard things, so it's important for you to always keep this in mind, which is why I make a note of it. Okay, this is from the CRJ. Okay, and the amount that we've calculated was 365. Okay, again, if you were only doing the VAT control account, it would go to the VAT control account on the debit side as well. Okay, then 10.2, the VAT on the discount received amounted to 518. So discount received is in the CPJ. Okay, and this is discount received from our creditors. Now, normally we claim that as VAT input when we buy goods from our creditors. So the discount that they give us now makes the VAT input less. So we're going to put it on the opposite side of our VAT input. So normally everything goes into VAT input on the debit side. This will come to the credit side. Now here your details will be creditors control again, but in brackets you can say discount received. Now remember, when you do this section in exams, the details are not serious. So even if you just put discount received or whatever, it would be fine there. Okay. Okay, so they've given us this amount, 518, so we don't have to calculate it. And if you were only doing the VAT control account, it would go to the credit side of the VAT control account. So do you see that if you're doing only the VAT control account, all the same details, everything comes into the VAT control account. Okay, then 10.3, the owner took stock at cost price 8,000 excluding VAT. So when the owner takes goods at goods, it's regarded as VAT output because the goods are leaving the premises. VAT output, it's almost like sales, but it's not sales because it's actually drawings. Okay, this is from the General Journal. Okay, 8,000 excludes VAT, so to calculate it, we're just going to say 8,000 times 15%, 1,200. And if we were only doing the VAT control account, we would put it on the credit side of the VAT control account. Okay, so discount allowed, discount received, and drawings are things which come from the General Journal, and they require a little bit more thought than the VAT figures which come from the actual journal. Okay, then bad debts written off 4,400 Rand. Okay, now when bad debts are written off, okay, remember that when the goods were sold to the debtors, the bad debts was the sale was regarded as VAT output. Now bad debts will actually decrease the VAT output. Okay, I'm going to assume that bad debts, the amount which is given to us, excludes VAT. Okay, because it goes to the income statement, it needs to exclude VAT. So we'll say 4,400 multiplied by 15% just to get the VAT portion of it. Now, if we were only doing the VAT control account, it would go to the debit side of the VAT control account. Okay, the same details, etc. The last one, the transfers to VAT control also done. Okay, so that's fine. We're going to do that now. Okay, so now all that's left for us to do, okay, in the VAT input and VAT output accounts is to transfer these figures to the VAT control account. And so I'm just going to do that quickly. Okay, so if you look at our VAT input account, the debit side is bigger. We're going to put that total in on both sides. So 77,568. And just take the 77, work out the difference. Okay, and this difference will go to the VAT control account. Okay, the transfer happens in the General Journal. Okay, now this figure is on the credit side here, 74,110. So in VAT control, it will be on the debit side. So go to the VAT control account. Okay, we're going to put that figure in there, 74,110. Okay, this is now on August the 31st, so it is the end of the month. Okay, this came from VAT input. And our folio is GJ. So this is the case if you're doing 3 ledger accounts, which means VAT input, VAT output, and VAT control. Obviously, if we're only doing the VAT control account, you wouldn't do this part. Okay, the same thing with the VAT output. We're going to look at it. The credit side is bigger. We'll put the total in on both sides. Once we have the total in on both sides, we'll then work out the difference on the debit side. So 93,660 minus 660 minus 365 and minus 560. And this amount will be transferred to the VAT control account. So if you look at the VAT input accounts and the VAT input and VAT output, it's closed off. There's nothing else going on in it. Okay. Now this 92,075 is here on the debit side of VAT output. So in VAT control, it will be on the credit side. And that should make sense because VAT output is a liability, so which is why it arrives on the credit side. This is on August the 31st. Your details will be VAT output. Okay, and the folio is from the GJ. Okay, so now I want you to go back to the note. Okay, it says CPJ excludes a check that was made out to SARS on 31st August to settle the amount of VAT due at the end of August. Okay, so basically the amount was due for VAT. The VAT output was 92,075. The VAT input was 74,110. Okay, so in our case, the VAT output is greater than the VAT input. So if the, sorry, I'll just make a note here. Okay, if the output is greater than the input, okay, we are owing SARS money. And obviously, if the input is greater than the output, okay, then SARS is owing us money, so it's a receivable. In our case, the output is greater than the input. Okay, so if you look at this VAT control account, we're going to put the bigger side on both sides. So I'm going to put 92,075 on both sides. I'm going to work out the difference. So 92,075 minus 74,110 is the amount that the business is owing SARS. And the note tells us that it was paid. So because it was paid, instead of saying balance carry down and balance go down, we'll just say bank CPJ. Okay, and so that account closes off. Okay, now that was if we're doing the VAT output, the VAT input, and the VAT control account. And this is if we're only doing the VAT control account. Now, if you look at this VAT control account here, okay, we need to determine which side is bigger. Okay, so if we look at our totals, this is 97,000 and something. This is 21,200. Sorry, 79,000. Okay, so we're going to put the credit side total on both sides because the credit side is bigger. We do know that from the previous part because the VAT output was greater than the VAT input. Okay, we're just going to work out the difference. So hopefully we should get the same answer if I've done everything correctly. Okay, so I'm just subtracting all of these figures. 17,965, just let me check. So it's the same that we had there. Okay, and because this amount was paid, our details will be bank from the CPJ, just like we did above in the other VAT control account. Okay, so I have to tell you guys that in exams, it's more common to just only get the VAT control account. And so if you get a question like this in the exam, they would tell you to do the VAT control account or do 3 separate accounts. It's up to you. So whatever you prefer, as long as you get the answers right. The details are not serious, but putting the figures in on the right side are very important. Sometimes you don't even have to do a ledger account. You can just do a calculation, which means you're adding, subtracting, etc. So you need to know how to do it both ways. Okay, that's all for this question. Okay, bye.